Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 189. I was white here, kicked off with d4. He plays knight f6, and I go c4. So we're in a usual queen's pawn type of opening. Could play e6 and get to the Nimzo Indian, or even e6 d5 going back to queen's gambit declined, or g6 leading to a king's Indian or a Grunfeld, or c5 leading to a Benoni or a Binko gambit. But he plays instead e5, the Budapest gambit. So it's a pretty interesting way to play, and it's actually not bad for black. He's not really losing a pawn. If you see the evaluation, it's just sort of the typical opening advantage for white. So this is an interesting way to play. You might want to check it out if you like these kind of tactical positions. There's a lot of interesting early tactics. White can get mated in the opening if he's not careful. So it is an interesting way to play. Normally you try to hold on to the pawn for a move or two. Bishop f4, knight f3. I play the knight f3 line. And then bishop c5 or knight c6 are the most common responses. My opponent played bishop b4 check. And we're actually pretty much out of the opening book there. But if we back up, if you play kind of one of the normal moves, bishop c5, you'll see that once again, there's no particular opening advantage for white. I mean, it's no greater than normal, so I'm just saying this is a fine way for black to play. It looks like here I could maybe try and hold on to the pawn by playing knight c3, although you do suffer from really ugly pawns in this line. And bishop g5, hitting the queen. Yeah. And so you get to keep your pawn because you trade it for the f-pawn. So you're a pawn up, but you have these ugly doubled pawns over here. So that would be a way to play for an advantage with white. Might be interesting to try sometime. A little bit of inequality. You have an extra pawn, but it's kind of a doubled pawn. So I play bishop d2, which leads to some exchanges, and also leads to a good position for white. So it's not a bad way to play. Bishop takes, knight takes, or queen takes I played. Yeah, queen takes is good. Knight c6. So now, starting here, I play some inaccurate moves. I should just develop a knight c3. Or even the engine suggests queen f4 as a way to try to hold on to the pawn one more move. I play this move h3, so it's just not the right move in this position. It forces an exchange which black was probably going to do anyway. And then it's not clear if this move really helped my position all that much. And then next I should just play a move like e3 or e4 to defend the c-pawn, which is under attack from his knight. But I was aware of that, and I just wanted to try something different, so I played b3. And it's not bad, but it's not the most accurate way to play. Again, e3 would be the best way to play there. So my opponent castled here, and now I play e3. Queen f6. Just getting an attacking setup going there, and also threatening the knight indirectly. So if I don't do anything, there's this idea of knight here check, and I take it, and then queen takes rook. So I need to block that diagonal. And d6, bishop e2. So we get to a typical position. I don't want to say typical. We get to a position which is about even. So both sides have chances, and nobody really makes any horrible mistakes for a while. Maybe that's not the best square for the bishop, but you know, these are fractions of a point difference, and black is kind of probing around looking for weaknesses. This move, queen g6, comes with a threat to the h3 pawn, and very interestingly, the most accurate defense is not what I played. King h2 was the second choice. Could have gone to h2. I went to h1, but I played knight. But the top choice is knight d5, and there's an interesting variation. If he takes the pawn now, knight e7 check just wins the game. So after knight d5, he has to play a move like well, maybe rook fe1. That's what he played in the game, and then knight takes c7 as a fork. Or if he plays the other rook there, then rook a e8, rook a d1, rook a d1. Now what stops him from taking the pawn here? Knight f4. Oh, okay. So the knight from d5 also has the idea of this knight f4 trick. So anyway, so that's something to keep in mind. If you have a knight on c3 and you have this queen and bishop attack on the h3 pawn, this knight d5 to f4 is a kind of a neat trick. Okay, because this situation is not, it's pretty common actually. It's a common attacking motif, so that's a resource to keep in mind if you find yourself in a similar situation. So I played the move king h1. Not that it's an awful move, but would have been better with the knight. Rook fe8, and so yeah, again we continue in this range of about even. I did find this knight d5 idea as a good square for the knight anyway, and then I come to f4 defending the h3 pawn. But he gets his queen out of the way, and now he can play the move g5. So it says I should play rook a d1, queen d4, queen d5. I'm not sure. Oh, queen d5 is interesting because it supports g2 here. Or king back to g1. Yeah, I was wondering, I could just move my king back and then there's not such a threat here. I played rook g1 here. And I'm still relying on the defense of the knight. But then that allows him to play g5. And now I have to be careful. If I just move my knight away, for example, he can take here. And I can't take back, so it's just a free pawn. If I take back, then it's checkmate. So that's the point. This rook here has blocked my king's escape, and that's a mate in one. So knight h5 was played. Yeah, it took me a while to discover this move. I was thinking of playing something like g5, but this could get pretty ugly here. But knight h5, which I found, shuts down the queen's attack on this line. And and the knight can't easily be chased away from that square. You know, you could bring the bishop back to try and exchange off the knight, but then the knight could be supported with the pawn move. So all in all, a good move. And he pushes on with g4, and that allows me to play the knight back to f4, just defending these guys with the knight again. So he plays king h8, and I push the g pawn forward, hoping to get in the move h4 if he doesn't take. And he could play, and I was sort of expecting something like this. Bishop takes here, king h2, and then grab the pawn. And I can't take back, it's really too dangerous. But I can just sit here with my king in front of the pawn and use the pawn to block the attack of his queen. So I was thinking I could survive this position. So there's still an edge for black here, but maybe playable. Let's go. But instead of playing that way, instead of playing bishop e4, I played knight f3. And now I can exchange this guy off. And his attack is sort of petering out here. I can throw in the immediate g4. I didn't hit on to this idea until a move or two later. But I play king h2 and still keeps some slight edge to white. So his attack is sort of fading at this point, and I'm getting into the safe zone. He brings his rook up, and I play g4 attacking the bishop now. And even though this pawn is pinned, the h-pawn is pinned by the queen, the rook is defending g4, so that's the important point. So he needs to move the bishop away, and now I can just lift the rook and go after this f-pawn. Although more accurate here, let's back up. It says more accurate here would have been queen d5. Yeah, I thought about queen d5 in this position, hitting the rook, but I thought he would just play, let's put it on the board, I thought he would just play rook here. But he's left a couple pawns undefended. So queen takes b7 and queen takes f7 are both possible. Okay, so I missed that idea. Rook g3, rook g8, getting more pressure on the g file. I have to always keep this defended here because of the h-pawn being pinned. I have to be careful. But I can throw in this move queen c3 check, and I thought this was good. Kind of forces him into an awkward situation. He blocks with f6. He could have played queen g7, and then I trade off queens, and his attack is over, and I'm just better. He plays f6, the best choice. And then I went knight h5. So it says maybe rook a to g1. That was the other thing I was thinking. I need more support on this g-pawn, so just double up the rooks on the g-file. So this move knight h5 is not quite as accurate. I was thinking it was pretty good because it's putting pressure on the f6 pawn, but he can defend it. And now I can take on f3, putting more pressure there. So do you have a better defense? It says rook e5. It's interesting here. Rook e5. What is that about? Well, it blocks the diagonal. Let's take that back. It blocks the diagonal. So, so I can't take on f6. And he might be threatening to take my knight. It says I should play rook a to g1. Yeah. And okay, and it just goes on from there. Just that's a better way for black to play than what he played. He played rook to e6, just defending. And now I can take on f3, which I did. And he played rook f8. So here I have an edge, I guess. I've picked up a pawn, and the attack is not crashing through just yet. But my problem at this point is I'm starting to run low on time, so start moving a little bit more quickly. And as we maneuver around, you see I lose a bit of my edge there, but I'm still in good shape here. I still have a winning advantage. And then I just play this move, rook g2, thinking to bring my king out and try and push some of these pawns forward. So what should I play instead? Knight d5. Okay, just getting the knight back to d5. That's interesting. I kind of wanted to play knight d5, but I thought, doesn't that just give the pawn back? Oh, there's a fork here. Knight d5 vacates the f4 square for the move f4, forking the queen and the rook. Totally missed that. Okay, so that's the kind of tactical thing you gotta watch out for during these games. Rook g2, though, is just a blunder, and now it's an even game at this point. But also I'm low on time, and I start to make other moves that are not so great. Although it's still okay here. Yeah, just the score is gradually increased in black's favor as I've made a series of quick moves, and he is the exchange up, so I did have to be just more precise. If we back up a little bit, see, after queen e7, it was still an even game here. I needed to play knight d3, continue to maneuver my knight around, and or knight d5. Yeah, so my idea is, yeah, this g5 push then was just the bad idea that gives the advantage to black for the last time. So he's able to realize his advantage here. Although it's not awful. Let's see, even here I could play a move like a3, queen c2. I think a3 just, he has this check here at any time, queen a1 check, picking up the a2 pawn, so maybe a3 or a4 is a way to defend against that. So now I hit knight d5, he throws in this check. I just had discovered this cool tactic here. So I was threatening queen takes rook, because after queen takes queen, then I have knight to e7 check, forking the king and the queen, so that would win a piece. But unfortunately, it's black's turn to move in this position, and queen a check is just winning. Let's see, where should my king at? My king should go to g2, because when I go here, I don't have many good options. I can't run out. I should go back down to d1, it says. But I interpose with the queen, and then he throws in this rook takes f2 check. Also another very common tactic to keep an eye on. When the queen is used to block the attack of a queen, you can sometimes bring a rook in on the other side to distract the king away, and then pick up a whole queen that way. Sack a rook, but win a queen. So anyway, good tactical alertness by my opponent, and kind of an interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.